They have destroyed the middle class. It's in front of us. The numbers, again, don't lie. You have a gap between the rich and the poor that what, according to the Pew Research Center, is back to the Gilded Age days and even worse. The middle class is shot in this country. We don't even have a day of rest anymore.
Rome in its most corrupt years, you know, in the 200s and 300s, had a bigger middle class than we have.
Yeah. So it has collapsed. And what, again, going back to this banking issue, I really believe it's there to dissuade people to try to get their money out. And by the way, that's why I believe in gold. And again, guns, gold, and a getaway.
Hey, even if it goes up or down, it doesn't matter. At least you got something buried on the back 40 and everything goes to hell. Everybody knows gold and silver has value.
Well, think of it like this. You're getting negative interest rates over in Europe. You put your money in the bank, they're going to charge you to keep it there 0.25%. Take out a German bond, a Danish, Austrian, a whole bunch of them, a 5-year bond. You're going to pay this much for it, and you're going to get that much back. You're going to get less back, negative yields. Why would anybody in their right mind buy a German, Austrian, Danish bond that they know they're going to get paid less at maturity? Do you think that gold prices are going to be lower than they are now in 5 years?
No, they can't keep it upside down forever. It is just wild. And I was reading different European countries, they make you pay interest to keep your money in a bank. So it's the opposite, inverse of reality.
Exactly. And it goes back to what you were saying about why they're sicking the cops on us. And by the way, the police in this country have become nothing more than enforcers for the crime bosses. You mentioned about all those scandals in the banks. You didn't see one head roll. And it's the same thing when you go down to the lower levels of the police. They commit these heinous crimes, nobody's head rolls. So they take care of each other. You protect me, I'll take care of you. And that's what it's become. They become enforcers for the Democratic and Republican crime bosses. Have you seen, there's not one major bank, and I love the language they use. They committed a misdeed. No, we misspoke. No, we misled. How about grand larceny? Never do you hear that. And not one major conviction under that Eric Holder, who was the so-called Attorney General and still tries to play the role, during the Obama administration, who as the man of change and hope you can believe in, campaigned or lied about how Wall Street was going to pay the price for their criminality. So the police in this country have become enforcers for the crime bosses.
That's right. With HSBC and others, they can launder hundreds of billions, and then they pay $111 million in the case of Wells Fargo on $300+ billion, and then HSBC was a bigger fine, 1.9, but only because it was Swiss. But that's still a small fraction of what they've done. Meanwhile, old ladies who run tiny little Mexican food restaurants, who are citizens and things, it's in the New York Times, goes every day and deposits the cash. That's their total earnings at a cash, and then they put it in the bank and they seize it, saying it's criminal because she put it in the bank. I mean, it's just rape everyone. It's just rape the little guy, Gerald.
Again, the fish rots from the head down. You have immorality being brought to the top by Washington. And so the people are behaving as their leaders do.
Gerald, I agree with you that the police in many jurisdictions are out of control, but they have indicted, the cop in Albuquerque that, said, I'm going to kill the homeless guy and did. I do see a lot of departments. It's a dichotomy.
It's minor compared to how they bust our chops all the time.
No, I get it. Especially, I've been up there in the East. They're really arrogant. But expanding on this, all I'm saying is, what's the master plan then? You've been a big political advisor and consultant. Why is Soros funding riots against the police? Are they trying to get a class war going?
Yeah, they have a class war going. a class war and a racial war keep being initiated by the governments and by these crazy people. Again, you look at what's going on in this country. Look how many of these young kids are growing up with no parents, whacked out on drugs. There's no job futures. How about all those college students that graduate with what? 40, 50, 60, 70,000, $100,000 worth of debt, and they got a degree in art history? I mean, come on.
Let me ask you this question. I mean, the arrogance of government does roll downhill. And so I'm guessing, have you had police get in your face or be rude, and what do you say to them when they do?
What's that?
Have you had the police treat you like garbage, and what do you say when they do?
You know, I've had the police treat me in lousy ways, rolling through a stop sign and then being nasty about it. Happened over here about a year ago. Yeah, most of them, the local police, I have to tell you, in Kingston, they don't break anybody's chops because they have real problems in a couple of bad neighborhoods, and they concentrate on that. And they have a police chief and a mayor that really makes it that.
Well, that's what I'm getting at, Gerald, is the media is creating the perception that the police are out of control, and they certainly are at many levels, and the system lets them do it. But they're trying to create a bigger perception to blame everything on the police instead of the political elite. What I'm saying is we need to blame the political elite that set this up.
But again, you know, I mentioned about the local police. Then there's the state troopers. Man, I mean, you know, you can't go out and have a drink, you know, without them, you know, walk the line, do this, bend over, bow down. No, it's out of line.
Well, it didn't used to happen in America. It's definitely not freedom.
No.
Gerald Celente, I want to hit geopolitical issues with you straight ahead. And I want to tell folks about your new Trends Journal. I've also got one of your journals from years ago where you predicted a bunch of this, and I wanted to read those quotes. Gerald Celente is our guest. You'll definitely want to stay with us for the conclusion of the transmission. TrendsResearch.com. Go there, get the Trends Research Journal. We're back live, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for joining us. One reason we're seeing the tyranny expand so fast is that people are waking up. There's a lot of good news happening every day as well. Monsanto hit with fine for genetically contaminating wheat supply. Monsanto chief admits hubris is to blame for public fears over GM. No, we've read the studies. Robots to replace half of jobs over the next 20 years. Apple's Wozniak warns that AI is being designed to basically take over. Now algorithms are deciding whom to hire based on voice. Why are the elites trying to build a world that isn't based on humans? I mean, I know they believe they're going to merge with machines and be gods. It just sounds like more delusional craziness out of the elites. Where do you, in the long term, see humanity going? Do you have a good prognosis, Gerald Celente?
Well, if it keeps going in the direction it is, there's no question about it. You know, we're dumbing down at great levels. You know, artificial intelligence, right? Yeah, artificial intelligence is as great as artificial flavors or artificial coloring and artificial food. And that's where it's going.
Gerald, looking at the entire planet right now, what do you think the next big hotspot is?
Well, I believe it's going to be the Middle East and Ukraine. You saw Congress came out recently and voted a resolution. What was it, about 300 something? Hello?
Yes, Gerald, can you hear us talking?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes, you just paused and you're saying hello. Are you hearing any audio come across?
Yeah, I hear you fine.
Okay, good. You're just pausing when I'm letting you talk. And so I'm just wondering, are you hearing anything?
Yeah, I hear you fine. The hot spots, Alex, I believe are going to be Ukraine and the Middle East. You just saw a resolution passed in Congress to arm Ukraine, Western Ukraine, Kiev, with lethal weapons. Great. That'll make things really nice.
Well, Gerald, what can we do from your historical research to try to stop this?
We need a new third party, as I see it. It just can't go on like this. I don't care who's going to lead either party. They're too corrupt. They're too in bed with the special interests. Let's stop calling it the House of Representatives. The only ones they represent are the people that give them money. And the people that give them the most money are the drug companies, the communications industry, the military industrial and cyber industrial complex.
What about
need a
voting with our
third
dollars?
party.
You always talk about creating local communities, farmers markets, supporting local shops. Isn't the model of us wrecking the globalist Monsanto and McDonald's, profits plunging, isn't voting with our dollars really the best revolutionary thing we've got right now?
Right now it is, but it's at a smaller level, and it's going to take a lot of time. It has to start from the community. But Alex, we're going into the 2016 elections, and it's going to be one party or another. And as you're looking at it now, it's not even a two-party system. It's a two-family system. I mean, you know how many times I'm sick of hearing about Jeb Bush or Hillary Clinton?
What a joke.
What a joke.
That shows how out of touch the political class is to think that we would support either one of those people.
Exactly. And they're being shoved down our throat. Could you look at the dignity of the White House, how low it has sunk? Could you imagine Dwight D. Eisenhower yucking it up with this Kimmel character or another one?
It's all a complete joke. All they give us is hype instead of a prosperity. I mean, I don't know if we're going to make it because of these people, Gerald.
Well, again, that's what I was saying. You know, we need a new way. Well, look at the people. Who are we talking about? Let's put faces and names together. Lloyd Blank Fine. How about Blank Face? Pelosi, not so Feinstein, McConnell, Reid, little Lindsey Graham. How can any self-respecting person look up to these people? Obama, one lie. Hey, great job. Hey, remember that speech you gave about our strategic alliances with Yemen and how our security and intelligence are doing so great? Yeah, happy days in Yemen. Oh, you forget this one? We're going to be out of there by an Afghanistan before you know it. Oh, you're changing the tune. Look at the people. You want some arrogance? Hey, how about Hillary Clinton? Hey, bring back Dick Cheney. Let's hear a liar again. Put him out on the media. Look at this guy, this General Scales. Yeah, rotted fish scales that is saying on Fox that we need to kill some more Russians over there in Ukraine and send them over in body bags so that Putin will get the message. Why put a nut like
No
this on
president
television?
ever talked like that. That is literal thug gangster talk. That's what I mean. These people are crazy.
They're crazy. And no one wants to call them what they are. Instead, they call them congressman, senator, and president.
Well, I mean, no one. Imagine Ronald Reagan saying, we need to send a bunch of dead Russians over there. That'll teach them. That would have started a nuclear war. And the Russians aren't perfect, but, I mean, they are freaking out, getting ready for war. They're scared. Putin stays in a bunker most of the time. I mean, this is dangerous, folks.
Everyone that has followed the Ukraine crisis from the beginning knows who started it. Victoria Nuland, the Assistant Secretary of State.
But she's a feminist, so it's okay. If she destroys the planet, it's okay.
That's different, of course. If only the women were in charge. Yeah, like that Samantha Powers and Susan Rice and Hillary Clinton that started the Libyan war. Oh, yeah, peace on earth. Oh, and what's her name's over there? Samantha Powers? She's over there in Brussels 2 weeks ago saying that NATO's not putting enough money into defense. So when you look who started the Ukraine war, whether you like Yanukovych or not, the United States engineered the overthrow of a democratically elected government and installed a puppet Poroshenko. You look what's going on.
Oh, we've totally lost the moral high ground. We've got to remove the criminals. Gerald Celente,